Ask any Jeep enthusiast, and they will tell you that there's nothing more fun than accessorizing their favorite vehicle. And when it comes to accessories, it's going to be hard to argue that Metra doesn't have some of the biggest catalogs out there. Today on CMA Networks, we'll be covering all the great accessories and parts that Metra has devised for this very exciting Jeep and trucks category. And we have AARON NEWMAN, who's going to be joining us from Metra to give us all the deets. This is CMA Networks, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Metra. And it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another CMA Network session here, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and we are talking about Jeep and truck accessories. Metra is in with us today, and this brand here literally has everything from headlights and accessories and so much more. And we've got the guy, and wouldn't you know it, he happens to be a Jeep enthusiast himself, Mr. AARON NEWMAN. AARON, I got to ask you, this is a huge category. We know we got a lot to cover, but give us a couple headliners of what we need to get into today.
Hey, Ben, this is absolutely a huge category from us. You're going to get your headlight optics. We're going to have some fun with LEDs, chasing LEDs, showing you some new product. DSPs, actually, we got a lot to cover, man, so let's get into it.
Well, AARON, I'm ready, and I'm sure the dealers tuning in are ready as well. But before that, let's give our sponsor, SiriusXM, a quick opportunity to remind dealers why it is an awesome way to get some extra little profit in every exchange. And when we come back, we're going to get into Metra in the Jeeps and trucks category.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability. People love it.
Well, let's get right into it. Lots to cover here. I got this long list in front of me. But AARON, let's start with something that is very visual that I think all Jeepers really appreciate. And I know there's a story behind this particular product because I remember it coming out a few years back, and there's been some refinement. Tell us all about these 9-inch and 7-inch headlight replacement with now chasing LED functionality.
You're right. Pretty much as you're signing your dotted line buying your Jeep, the absolute first mod that most Jeepers are going to do are headlights. And we did kind of touch on it. There is a history with these. We brought them out at SEMA last year. And that was after a year of testing. And what you find is sometimes when you put them out into the wild, right? Yeah, the actual wild off-roading, you need to go back and do a couple of redesigns or look at something different. The other thing is these actually have chasing LEDs in them, right? So not only is it a better headlight where the optics are optimized for off-road performance, but they also have kind of a party mode to them, right? So you can use it as a white DRL, daytime running light, but truly it's meant for party mode when you're sitting at a Jeep meet with your buddies going, well, can your light do this? Or can your light do this? Took us a while to get that right, to get the right light that we wanted with the right animations. And then the other part to that was the controllers themselves. We actually have built ourselves a universe around a controller app, right? So not only do you have to use the card that comes with these, or you can use the card rather, but it's one app. So no matter how many controllers you have in your Jeep, it's one app. And that was the important building blocks that started from here that went everywhere else in the Jeep. If it's a grill light, if it's an interior light, Underglow, they are all part of what we call the Heist Connected universe.
I got to say, AARON, those lights are just absolutely out of this world. Might I even say they are mesmerizing to watch? And I think anybody would agree with me. And I do want to remind our dealers and listeners, those are off-road only, but awesome to have to show, especially when trying to show off, at a Jeep rally. Now, moving on to another important piece, we're talking sound systems. We all want to upgrade our sound systems, but there's a really big challenge when it comes to these Jeeps, Aaron, and that is the space confinement of where to put gear. So what solutions has Metra come up with for amplifiers, for example?
All right, so within that confined space, we actually came up with this. This is an amp rack. It does utilize small form factor amps, but the biggest champion of what we're doing here is this fits under the driver or passenger seat or both, depending on how many amps you need. The benefit here is from other ways of mounting your amps, is this actually kicks up in the rear, and this is for your passengers' feet to go under, so they're not going to kick your amp or even know it's there. There's also some cable tie rivets, if you will, or kick out knockouts. That way you can keep all your cable management nice and neat. It's independent of the seat, so you can roll it forwards and back or drop it down. It's a nice out of the way place to keep amplifiers, to upgrade your sound without having to worry about placing it elsewhere.
As you can see, we are going through all different kinds of categories. And the next one I want to talk about is a turn signal light. Now, you might be thinking, why do I need to change my turn signal light? Well, you need to see the ones that Metra came up with. Aaron, tell them about it.
All right, so with our turn signal light, I don't know if you can see the box real well here, but it's actually going to be a lot brighter and more attention grabbing when you're on the trails. But when you don't have it on, it's also going to look a lot cooler because it's smoked, it's tinted, it keeps all of that goodness hidden, right? So it just looks sleek. Something I forgot to tap on earlier, right? All of our Jeep product comes with full color instructions on how to install it, and the tech support information right on the front card as well. But back to this, we designed it to be a bolt-in to the factory fender. It fits right into that same place. Everything locks in with the same OEM connectors. And we even have provisions to make sure that your CAN bus system doesn't go off, right? So you're going to be driving down the trail bright, being seen. But really kind of this thing's really cool party trick is it does have a running light in it. But when you trigger your turn signal, it starts from the grill out, right? So you'll see kind of you can't hear because it's not lit up, right? But you'll see how the gradient works. So in, yellow, 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 amber, amber, amber. Really cool light. This one is a piece where I had the very first one on my 18JL 2 years ago. It is still there. It is still kicking. It's just a really cool piece, man. It doesn't add anything negatively. It doesn't take anything away from your Jeep. If anything, it adds style.
All right, so now we have a solution and a really nifty way to install the amplifiers. But what do we have as solutions to upgrade those tiny little speakers in the sound bars? Because honestly, don't know why they're that small, but I know Metra's got a solution to have bigger sound up there.
Absolutely. From the factory, you get a 4-inch speaker. That's not a lot of footprint. So what Metra has actually come up with was a 6x9 cutting kit. And I actually have a legitimate sound bar from a JLJT. As you can see, you got to cut out all this structure that they use for porting, and that'll allow you to drop this plate in to add any 6x9 that you want that will fit within that footprint right there. So you got quite a bit of room. Now, because of the excursion that probably you're going to want to put a bigger driver in, right? We give you a new grill for depth, right? So I don't know if you could see on camera, but this is very shallow. This one has about a 1-inch inset. So that way you could put a fairly decent driver with good excursion inside of here. We're gonna also give you some matting material, some sound deadening material to help make that airspace up that it doesn't exist within this profile. It is a DIY friendly thing. Shops can do it without taking the soundbar down. You can, if you want, take the soundbar down, but it can also be done in place pretty quickly. The more you do them, the faster you get at them. The template we give you, it's pretty self-explanatory. You cut it out, take the cup, and you're done. Put the plate in place. We got this one printed out in white so you guys can see it a little better, right? But she just fits in place. covers up all the gaps. Kind of this stuff along here. The actual production piece has a foam core on it. It's just hard to see black on black on video. So that's why we got this here to show you. It does cover everything up. And then, like I said, we got a really aggressive, stylish grill that goes in place, and that caps off your installation. Put any 6x9 on any amplifier that you so desire.
I'll tell you, Aaron, that adapter or cut-in kit for the 6x9s for me is like a total no-brainer. What a great way to improve the sound by a long shot, in my opinion. So we've got the amp rack, we've got the cut-in kits. Now, what about DSP? Did I hear you mention that off the top of our show? And how does this apply for a Jeep situation?
All right, so why is the DSP cool? Well, firstly, if you're doing the speaker cut-ins, right, the 6x9s, they're not going to be driven off of factory power. It's just the factory cone's a little 4-inch and it's ported, right? It's specifically tuned for the power level that the factory radio gives out. Secondly, why DSP, right? Well, years ago, there was a call to upgrade the radio, to upgrade the audio so you could have Android Auto or CarPlay, and that just doesn't exist anymore. People are quite happy with their factory radios these days. So for that, if you want to make the sound bigger, if you want to make the sound bolder, how are you going to do that without adding a bunch of LOCs and a bunch of high-end amplifiers that have built-in DSPs? Well, that's where Access comes in. They give us a DSP interface to that radio that you can add just a sub if you so choose to. You can add all 5. You can add up to 10 channels with our DSPX. So if you want to raise your sound floor, you can do that as well. It's really up to your imagination and how you want to design sound. But for factory spaces, you really need to add power, right? We're adding 6.5 in the front where a 4-inch stood. You're adding a 6.5 or a 6x9 where a 4-inch stood. So you need to add power to those. So an amp that is a couple hundred watts per channel, or by 4, if you will, that will absolutely get you in the space that you need to fill that area with sound. Also included in the box is all the harnessing to do it. And for Chrysler products, you actually get a couple of resistor pads. The reason why you need these resistor pads is to tell the factory radio that the speakers are okay. There's a factory cutoff on it. If a speaker blows, that it'll kill the sound so it doesn't hurt the radio. So you need those resistor pads in place. They also help make the sound quality better.
All right, so the DSP absolutely wraps up all the great upgrades you can do to the Jeep. But we got to get back to some lighting because we talked about some headlight options. But I've been to a couple Jeep rallies and Jeep guys like their entire thing lit up. So what do you got for, let's say, Underglow accessories?
Underglow, the OG of lighting, right? If you guys were around in the 90s, everybody knows what an Underglow was, right? It was neon tubes, and they were fun, but they were fragile, right? So Metra reintroduced this piece right here. And when I say reintroduced, it was new for us at the time, but it was bringing Underglow back. And we did it in a tube style fashion. That way you had the protection, you had the security of mounting, but you also get that light, that old school feel. And there's a lot of us Jeepers who are now in their 40s who had original Underglow, back in the 90s, right? And it's fun because you can kick in that party mode like we were talking about earlier. Also, within that, kids are enjoying it now, right? We're reintroducing them into the car scene, and you get your little ones with you and you can play with the lights, and our lights are compatible with music as long as it's downloaded to your phone. It just introduces a fun family environment that can also handle the harsh terrain, right? These I actually have a demo for you guys. These lights have been sunk more than once. Unfortunately, my Jeep stalled going through quite a big mud hole, and they were under there for about 20 minutes or so. But let's kick it to the demo so you can guys see what our Underglow kits are all about. So we got this kit set up with our regular RGB, just going 7 color, right? But as you can see, the light is dispersed. It's pretty bright, figuring the fact that we actually have studio lights still on in here. And it is one controller that controls everything you're seeing happening right now. So the entire Underglow is held off one controller. Comes with zones, right? So there's triggers for left and right if you so choose to use them. There's also a brake trigger, but that is our Underglow kit.
And last but not least, Aaron, there is a unique piece that Metra makes when it comes to not only camera retention, but also the ability to add more cameras, because we also know that Jeepers love that as an option as well. Tell us more about this AdCam module.
Well, everybody loves an underdog, right? And this is our underdog. It's our last product. This is the AdCam. And what this guy does is, if you want to, go kind of Metra's wheelhouse, you can change the factory radio in there with the shallow mount Pioneer. And with this piece, you can retain the camera, but this isn't its only party trick, right? This will actually retain your factory camera, but let you add up to 3 more cameras on it, and they are CAN activated triggers. So what does that mean? It's computer signal. This reads your Jeep and will tell it when you want access to your headlight cam or your left and right cameras based on turn signal function. And that's really where this is going to come into its own. You can add rock cameras if you so choose to. You can use it as a regular, left and right camera for seeing what's coming up behind you. With this, I actually have on my Big Bird, the yellow JL, right? We actually put a camera in the front in the bumper so you can see rocks as you approach them. Not that we've done a whole lot of rock climbing with it, but the option was there, and I had the AdCam, so we went for it. It actually turned out to be a very cool piece, and maybe you should be looking for that piece coming in the next year or so. But in terms of this AdCam, what you do with your cameras is only limited by where you feel like sticking them.
That was product specialist and Jeep enthusiast AARON NEWMAN from Metra, laying it down with all these great new products for the Jeeps and truck segment. And there's no mistake, between the headlight options, the Underglow kits, the signal, and now that AdCam option, the DSP and 6x9 cut-ins. I mean, the list goes on. We only had so much time today to show you just a little piece of that catalog from Metra when it comes to Jeeps. And in my opinion, if you guys are into building out Jeeps for your customers, it's going to be very difficult to not pay a close attention to the offering that Metra has. Now, if you like anything that you've seen on this video today, make sure you check out their website, the official Metra website, which is found at metraonline.com. That's it for this CMA Networks presentation brought to you by SiriusXM. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.